Willie D Live.
What's up, family? If it's your first time checking out the show, let me know what city, what state you're coming in from. If you're outside of the U.S., let me know what country you're representing. Throw up your flag. Family, I need you to smash up the like, smash up the like, smash up the likes. Also, if you have not done so already on YouTube, after you subscribe, there's a little bell next to your subscribe button. Go ahead and click that thing right now so you can get your notifications each time I drop a new video like this. That way you'll be in the loop. Family, when I first opened up, I said smash up the likes. Some of y'all think I'm just talking. I'm dead serious, man. You got to smash those likes up so we can put it in the face of all of those haters, man. We got to put it in a hater face because haters don't like that. Also, we want to put it in the face of those out there who don't know about the platform right now. But we'll get wind of it thanks to you. You dig what I'm saying, fam? So let's get right into it. We got Officer Tatum, who recently sat down with Warren Hudson and other friends of Nolan Wells to let them tell their side of the story. But instead of settling the controversy, the interview has raised even more questions about their accounts, group dynamics, and what may be happening beneath the surface. So, psychotherapist Elliot Connie and a friend of the show joins us to break it all down and tell us what this all means. Connie, welcome back, Mr. Connie.
Thank you for having me, bro. How you doing?
Hey, man. Hey, I'm cool, man. I'm cool, and I'm trying to figure out, man, what is it that you saw that I'm getting some echo. How does that sound?
That sounds good to me.
What is it that you saw that us average folks probably missed?
I mean, I don't know, and I just watched the video. I actually posted a reaction video on my page. I'm still processing what I saw. A couple of things that stood out to me is, number one, the lack of emotion. It would be very difficult for me to talk about the loss of someone supposedly so close to me with just absolutely no emotion. Number two, in the clip that's going super viral, there's another clip where one of the young men refers to Nolan Wells' mother as Miss Wells instead of Mrs. Wansley or Mrs. Wells Wansley, which is the only way. So, and I thought back, like, I don't remember ever not knowing the name of my friend's parents. The other thing I think is the biggest thing for me. Like there are people who are paying really close attention to the details. Like, why didn't you make this call? And you said this about the boat, and now you're saying this. I'm paying more attention to their language, their body language, and the things that I attend to as a psychotherapist. And I think the biggest thing that jumps out at me is they seem far more interested in controlling the narrative and how people are perceiving them than they are finding justice and truth for their friend Nolan. And that to me is a huge alarm bell. And it makes me think about, like, if you watch that interview, they're more defensive than they are anything else. And then the other thing is they're trying to steer this, and this to me is really frustrating and also alarming. They're trying to steer this away from the racial implications, which also reeks of defensiveness. And as I said in my video, you are literally gaslighting the Black community. And I'm tired of it, to be honest with you. They should expect there to be racial issues here for two reasons. One of them having to do with them, and the other one having nothing to do with them. The one that has to do with them is the inescapable fact is you are a group of white kids who were hanging out with a Black kid, and the Black kid is the only one that didn't come home. There are going to be racial implications of that, and you are going to be the primary suspects because you were the last known people to be spending time with the kid who ended up deceased. And then the other thing is, we as a Black community have a justifiable reason to not trust the justice system in that area due to the racial history that has taken place in Mississippi. So in that interview, he literally said, like, this is crazy. That's literally what narcissists do. They take what you perceive as real, and then they tell you you're crazy for thinking it. We are not crazy for thinking it. There are hundreds of years of examples on why we should not trust the justice system in that specific part of the country. And now I got this kid saying, it's just crazy. They're trying to make it a black and white issue. No, we're asking you to acknowledge that it is a black and white issue. We're asking you to be aware of where this incident happened. We're not even asking you to take accountability for it. Just acknowledge that we're not crazy for thinking something that happened in Mississippi to a black kid in a white community perhaps has something to do with race, and perhaps the wheels of justice move more slowly, if at all, in that area for black people who have been victimized by violent crimes. I'm not saying that they've been victimized by violent crimes, but there have been lots of opportunities when there have been victims of violent crimes and suspicious deaths and gone missing and so on, where we have not been able to trust that the wheels of justice move in our favor. So to gaslight us through it, making us feel crazy for thinking like maybe race is playing an issue here, we're talking about Mississippi. And if anybody's listening and they've never been to Mississippi, race is always an issue when you go to Mississippi. I went to Mississippi. I think I said this on your show before. I went to Mississippi with a white friend of mine, and we went to Money in Glendora, Mississippi. And some of the black people wouldn't talk to us about what happened to Emmett Till. And they literally said, the grandchildren of those people still live in this community. We can't talk to you, and walked away. So don't make it sound like we're nuts for thinking race is still playing a role, because it's just ridiculous.
You know, perhaps he could have maybe picked up a point or two. He wasn't going to pick up a bunch of points, but maybe he could have picked up a point or two if he would have just said, you know what, I understand why people would have some trepidation about our story because of the racial tension that's, you know, in the racial history of our state. I understand that, but we're past that. Us, my group of friends, we're past that. And you know, and here are some examples. We love Nolan. We would never have done something like that to Nolan, and blah 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 blah. I still wouldn't have believed him, but you know, he would have picked up a few points from a couple of people. You know, a couple of people would have believed him, but I definitely would not have believed him. What do you make of what he said when Warren said this? He said the reason we turned down Coast Guard is, and then he caught himself. He was like he was about to answer that question, but then he caught himself and said, "Why call the Coast Guard if CETO can pull us in?" You know, at first he was going like, the reason why we turned down Coast Guard is, and then he was like, why call Coast Guard if CETO can pull us in? Why call Coast Guard? Because Coast Guard is more equipped for emergency rescue. Your boat is sinking. CETO is typically for a boat that is not sinking. It's not to go and dig a boat out of the water. I'm saying it's not to rescue people. That's what the Coast Guard is for. So they really think we slow and think we ain't never been on a boat before. Like, but even if we hadn't been on a boat before, we ain't that damn slow. The Coast Guard is who you're supposed to call. And at one, so Warren actually admitted he did not call the Coast Guard. But then I think, I don't know if it was the lawyer, somebody was off camera speaking, saying that he called the Coast Guard and trying to say that they're heroes. And I'm like, I don't know what I missed, but I'm trying to figure out what exactly heroic did they do? Because he said that these are all American boys.
Which is intentional, by the way. That's a white dog whistle. That's intentional.
Yeah, exactly. These are all American boys, and what they did was heroic. What exactly did they do?
He didn't say. He said what they did is heroic. I'm not going to get into it here. And when I heard that, I was like, why not? Like, this is exactly where to get into that.
Maybe heroic. Maybe he meant heroic by KKK standards.
He might have been, but he literally said they did heroic things and they did the best they could. And then he said, I'm not going to get into it here. And I absolutely was like, why not? This is exactly where to get into that stuff. Like, this is exactly where to say, here are the heroic things these boys did to try to find, rescue, whatever. And they didn't say any of that. Didn't say any of that.
What did they communicate without actually saying?
They communicated without actually saying. They communicated defensiveness, and they communicated their biggest point of stressor is being accused of something. Their not biggest point of stressor has nothing to do with Nolan or his family, which to me
Mm,
shows an absence of
mm,
compassion. Like
they have,
if
yeah, yeah.
if I've hung out with this kid and they've all said we're like brothers and he's really close and all those things, you are showing zero compassion for this family and zero compassion for your friend. Like if I knew that my friend passed away and doing interviews with Officer Tatum is triggering the family, I wouldn't do the interviews. You're gaining nothing by doing the interviews. Like, who gives a shit what people in the public court of public opinion are saying about you? You don't go to prison based upon court of public opinion. And if you absolutely knew you had nothing to do with nothing, you wouldn't care. Your primary focus would be love and support for this family. And there, all I saw was anger, resentment, defensiveness, and worry about their own narrative. I didn't see like if the most common response, if you're truly innocent, which again this kid might be, but if you're truly innocent, the most common response is investigate the hell out of me, and then through that investigation you'll clear me, and then go find what actually happened. But they're not doing that. They're threatening lawsuits on defamation lawsuits. They hired a lawyer the day after this. Why are you so concerned with what the public thinks? And who is guiding you? Because every time you do one of these interviews, it brings up more questions than anything else. It's just all completely off. It just makes almost no sense.
What's more, I would say, what's more concerning? An unanswered question or an answered question?
I think I think an unanswered question is more concerning. An answered question is actually a very good thing, whether it's the truth or not. An answered question pins somebody down. An unanswered question is more concerning because you got to start wondering, why are you not willing to give a concrete answer to this thing? Um, but an answered question is a very good thing because now it can hold you accountable to that answer going forward. Um, there's a lot of unanswered questions here, and they don't seem to be super interested in answering them.
Okay, let me rephrase this. What's more revealing?
Oh,
What's more revealing? An uncomfortable question or an uncomfortable answer?
wow. They're both revealing for two different ways. An uncomfortable question, which I haven't yet seen. The interviewer is not asking any uncomfortable questions. And I would love, as an observer with clinical training, I would love to see how they respond to being made uncomfortable. This interview, there was an interaction in this interview that maybe you guys didn't pay attention to. Officer Tatum was asking a question, or ex-officer Tatum was asking a question, and they responded with, "Well, Brandon, you did this, this, and this." And it told me their level of comfort with this person is quite high because he is not doing or saying anything to make them uncomfortable. And I would love to see how they handle being uncomfortable. Um, and it's unusual that no question is in any way, shape, or form making them uncomfortable. The
You
the and,
notice, I was just going to ask, did you notice moments where someone answered a different question than the one that was asked?
Yeah, for sure. But that's not uncommon. That just tells me that's how we can tell they're being coached. Like when
Yeah.
I interview, so I used to go to family courts. I haven't done this in a while, but I used to go to family courts, and I would interview the children about abuse, and I would help the courts to determine whether or not abuse has happened.
Mhm.
And if I ask a kid, um, what did you eat for dinner last night? And the kid says, "Mommy never hit me." Like, I know you're being coached. And you can see times when they're being coached. And they did another nonverbal thing as well, which is when each one was talking, they would all look at the person talking, which it's a small thing, but that's
Mm.
really odd because it's like, are you sticking to the script? Oh, like, what
Uh,
are we saying? So when each one was talking, everybody would look at the person that was talking instead of looking at the interviewer, instead of looking down,
or just
instead of
looking down. Yeah,
they
yeah.
they they moved as like an amoeba, like one group. And that's not terribly unusual. I fully understand if your goal is, look, we want to get our narrative out there. We want to make sure that we are no longer being under suspicion, and we've hired attorneys that are coaching us to do that. Like, I understand all that. My question would be why? Why is that the priority when your best friend and brother has been gone under suspicious circumstances? Because even if amongst that group, even if they are all 100% confident and 100% true that they didn't do it, they should be very curious about what happened. And I've said it before, the only thing that removes curiosity is certainty. So if I were in their shoes, the only thing, and let's say I'm 100% sure I didn't do nothing and my friends didn't do nothing, then Nolan is gone. And you should be interested in, like, how did this happen? Even if it was an accidental death, you should be like, where did he go that he tripped and fell into the water? Or like, you should be scouring the island for those cameras. You should be asking everybody who was on that island to upload pictures to a Facebook group so we can all see. But I don't see, and everybody looks for like signs of grief and signs of stress, but I'm looking for signs of curiosity. And I don't see any, like, what happened. We need to know what happened to our friend. We know we didn't do anything, but knowing I didn't do anything doesn't tell me what actually happened. And I would be very interested in, like, how do we find out what actually happened? Even if it was an accident, I would still be very interested in, like, how did the accident take place? But I have not heard them express a single iota of curiosity.
Well, sometimes when people already know the answer to something, they forget that they need to act like they don't know the answer. So, what did you think about the one of the friends? I don't know if that's Jack's, but he was the one, I think, to the right of Nolan in that picture where it's four of them with the shirts off on the boat. But he said that he was asking them about the sinking boat call to the dispatcher. And he said, that doesn't make sense. He said something along the lines of, that doesn't make sense. Why would we, why, he said, you would have saw us, you would have saw Nolan at the, at the bottom of the boat. You would have saw Nolan at the bottom of the boat. You would have saw us standing around looking at him or something. How the hell are we gonna see him if they're on the phone, they're on a phone call, and they're
Yeah.
not FaceTiming? I know he didn't FaceTime the dispatcher. I know they close. I know they got a close knit community out there, but I don't think he called the dispatcher's personal cell phone and FaceTimed. I don't
Right.
think that's what happened, but maybe it's something there. I don't know. They're a close knit community. What if? No, he wasn't talking like he knew the dispatcher, so I wouldn't. That that wasn't a FaceTime call. That was just a call. So why would he say? Why would he say you would have saw us? You would have saw Nolan at the bottom of the boat, or us gathering around him? Why would he say that in relation to the phone call?
I don't know. I mean, one thing that's clear to me is they don't want people looking too closely to them. And what makes this really tricky is whether you're innocent or guilty, you don't want people looking too closely to you. Um, but it's very obvious they don't want people looking too closely to them. But as I said in the video I made, simply saying I didn't do it is not evidence. And simply saying I didn't do it, because if Like, I called CETO. I called the Coast Guard. That would have been dumb of me. So that's the fact that that would have been dumb is evidence that I didn't do it. Like, that is not evidence.
That is not evidence.
Criminals do dumb stuff all of the time and get caught doing dumb stuff. Again, not calling these kids criminals, but they do. People do dumb stuff all the time and get caught for doing this. So it doesn't seem, something's off. I don't know what it is, but something's off.
And it's not just people; it's kids. We all day, every day, we talk about how kids do dumb stuff. People in general do dumb stuff, but kids do dumber stuff. And we oftentimes, even kids will acknowledge, hey, I'm just a kid. I did something stupid. That was dumb. I'm just a kid. So kids do stupid stuff, do dumb stuff all the time. Look, man, perhaps, I ain't never killed nobody before. So I don't know how to act. I don't know what to be saying. I don't know how to really do this thing. This is my first kill. I don't really know what I need to be doing here. I got a dispatcher on the phone and she asked me, is everybody breathing? Why would the dispatcher ask me?
Yeah, it's an odd question.
Is everybody breathing? And why on earth would Warren say? Why would Warren get upset about someone enhancing the video? They're listening to this enhanced video, man. It's crazy. They're listening to this enhanced video. Last time I checked, enhancement means to make better, to improve, it meant higher. You know what I'm saying? Increase, enhance, right? So that's a good thing, enhance. So it's almost like he co-opted the word woke, right? How they co-opted the word woke and turn it around like, hey, you woke people, man. They we got to get rid of the woke people, the woke people, when woke means to be
aware.
Alert and aware, right? You know what I'm saying? So he's like, here, listen to this enhanced audio. Let me tell you something. For all of y'all who ain't put this together yet, and I know most of y'all have already put this together, the audio has already been authenticated. The audio from the CETO was authenticated. There's no dispute about that audio. There was no dispute about that audio itself. The dispute, they started talking about the dispute part on the other side when the black woman, Janetta Brantley, went in and enhanced the audio. Now, we already heard in the authenticated original audio, is he dead? Nolan. Damn it, boy. We heard that before she enhanced it.
That's right.
We heard that before she enhanced it. So what the hell are they talking about? She enhanced it, and we heard even more. And we heard even more clarity when she enhanced it. So I need to know. So they, instead of trying to explain the voices in the background, they said they attacked the enhanced version of the audio. They attacked the enhanced version. Oh, that's just enhanced.
Well,
messed with it.
To be honest with you, this was a very telling part of the interview, and I actually lay a lot of the blame. Not blame, that's not the right word. A lot of the responsibility for that part of the interview is on ex-officer Tatum. And the reason I say that is when he's like, in essence, he's the adult in the room. And he makes me very suspicious that he's been hired to protect these boys and to help them file defamation lawsuits. Because the first question he asked in the segment that they released was, how do you feel about this enhanced audio that I think lacks integrity?
Right.
So you're leading your witness, if you will, by just the way that you worded it. It's an odd way to do that. And he's telling in his question, he's telling the interviewee what the answer needs to be.
Right.
And that's really alarming.
Yeah, it's like yeah. So then they came and then they grabbed your stuff and then they took off running. Well, no, that ain't really what happened. Okay, so what happened was, no, now what I'm saying is that I think what they did is grab your stuff and took off running. Is that what happened?
That's exactly right.
Yeah. They grabbed my stuff and they took off running. They grabbed my stuff and took off running.
But this is a great example of what we were talking about earlier. Like that, none of these questions are uncomfortable. The question should have been: the CETO call has been enhanced by a lot of very credible audio engineers. Do you have any explanation for what we all heard on those audios? But that's not the question he asked, because that's not a question that protects the narrative that they're trying to put out.
And they didn't answer it. They actually did not answer. They didn't even address what was being said. Like,
no.
How do you explain, this is what we heard, this is what is heard on that audio? What did you hear? That's what I would say. Like, let me play the audio back for you right quick. Okay.
Yeah.
You recognize any of those voices? I'm
there
getting
is
my evidence as I go. Did you recognize any of those voices? Okay, what did you hear? Okay, what was said? Okay, so how do you think those voices got on that audio?
Yeah.
So they slow enough to say it was enhanced.
But they're not using words like manipulated. Like, you notice that ex-officer Tatum didn't say the audio has been manipulated. He said enhanced, because that's actually accurate.
Yeah.
He's just trying to like misuse the word enhanced.
Right.
And I think that's alarming. And just to, like, there's clearly a machine protecting these boys. They've got attorneys around them. They've got a large amount of money donated to whatever cause they're trying to accomplish by changing the narrative. There have been 3, I don't know if everybody knows this, there have been 3 arrests in this case. All of them, somebody threatened a judge, but people who have threatened people have been arrested. No one, all of the death threats that the mother has received, the anonymous threat to her license as a nurse, no one attacking the mother has been arrested. They haven't even investigated that, to my knowledge. And these kids they have not even said one time how this must be terrible for Nolan's parents. They haven't said one time. And we all know that she's going through living hell, not just losing her son, but she has been review bombed at her job. Somebody made an anonymous complaint, which is a threat to her livelihood, while she's grieving her son. They haven't expressed that they've been over there to talk to her, say hi to her, check on her. There's been nothing that you would expect human beings to do. Nothing. And that, the one accusation I will make is you guys are shitty friends, at the very least. Because none of that is how good friends behave.
You know, they didn't express any type of remorse at all. Like, they haven't responded with any type of sadness, any type of compassion. They're just saying, Nolan was our friend. Nolan was our friend. He was a great guy. We don't know what happened. He left us and that was it. You know, they don't talk about how their life haven't been the same, not because people are blaming them, but because of loss of life of a friend. You know, they're not saying how their life changed and how I'm never going to get to call them up and joke anymore with them. And we're never going to get to go out and play baseball and stuff or basketball together anymore. You know, I used to go watch his games and stuff. He'd call me, you don't hear any of these type of stories. All of the stories that's crazy. We wouldn't do that. You know, Nolan was our friend. He was a good guy. Nolan was our friend. He was a good guy. You know, sometimes in these relationships that Black people have with white people, and white people, shoot fit wear, You know, for the ones who rock with me, I rock with you. I rock with you for real. But you know for a fact, some of your people ain't right. I'm talking to them. All right. Some of these relationships that black people have with some of these white people, their white friends, they have to be aware that when you're the only black person, when you're the token black person in the group, a lot of times they look at you as the hunted one. You're the one that's going to get the brunt of the jokes that's going to be against you. You know, when they got jokes, you're always going to be the punching bag. When somebody want to release a little, you know, somebody want to charge somebody up or try somebody, they're going to try you. You notice that that it's never the big, strong black guy that's in these friend groups. When it's a black guy, it's typically almost never a big, strong black guy, you know, around a bunch of, you know, little guys, little white guys. It's typically the black guy that they think they can handle. And when something goes awry, when a fight break out, it's easier to take them down and take them out. You know, our youngsters right now, especially our males, they're being hunted. They're being hunted. I don't give a damn what they say. I'm looking at the facts. You cannot gaslight me. It ain't gonna work. It ain't gonna work. I'm telling you right now, you cannot gaslight me. I'm looking at it every day. I'm watching the reports. I'm seeing these bodies pop up daily where black kids are hanging out with their white friends and somebody ends up dead. And it's always 100% of the time the black person who ends up dead. So when you befriending your white friends, you got to make sure that you pick your friends. If that's what you're gonna do, you got to pick them very, very carefully, because you might be signing your death certificate. I'm telling you, I'm just being straight up, fam. You know, and I got white partners. I got some white partners, and they know how I am. I'm gonna tell it like it is, man. I'm gonna call a strike and a ball. I'm not gonna try to dance around this. The white people that rock with me, they know how I am and they know the truth, and they're not afraid of the truth. But the rest of y'all afraid of the truth. But I ain't got nothing for you but some pain. Ain't nothing over here but pain, man. I'm not gonna be silent so y'all can be comfortable. If y'all got a problem with what I'm saying, if you want to, and if you got a problem with what other people are saying that suspect these young men who was supposed to be Nolan's friends, of harming him, if you got a problem with that, how about change the culture? How about change the culture of whiteness, you know, in Mississippi and these other areas? How about change the culture and the attitude, you know, that would make somebody think that they can just take black life and get away with it?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, how about change the culture? Just acknowledge black plight. How about change the culture and just acknowledge why there's so much suspicion swirling around this situation? All they did was get defensive. I don't even know why they did that interview, to be very honest.
Yeah. Well, they did it. Narcissism, bro. When you look, man, I'm telling you, man, they're narcissists. They think that everybody else stupid. They think they got all the chips. Man, over here.
But what?
And we in Mississippi. We white. We in Mississippi. We got money. We got big time lawyers. You know, we are. You know, we gonna control the narrative. We got us a good step and fetch it Sambo show that we can go on and express ourselves. That way they can't say we racist, because we went on a black man show and talked about this. You know,
but I don't understand I don't understand what those kids had to gain. I know what ex-officer Tatum had to gain. I don't understand what these kids had to gain from doing this.
It's the arrogance, man. I'm telling you.
But even while being arrogant, which I agree with you, it's an arrogant thing to do. But what was the benefit to you from doing this? Like, if it goes really well, what's that? Like, how do you measure that it went really well? Like, I don't understand.
It's the same thing as, it's the same thing as, any narcissist who does something wrong and gets away with it. It's like, if you think about serial killers, they just got to tell somebody. They got to killing ain't enough. They got to call the police and say, catch me if you can.
Yeah,
They got it.
This is so dumb.
And that's how they get caught. That's exactly how they get caught. Let me ask you this. If you could interview Warren Hudson, what would you ask Warren Hudson right now? Like if you had three questions, if you could publicly interview him, if you had three questions, let's get somebody in there that's going to be fair and balanced and try to get to the truth. If you could ask him three questions, what's three questions that you would ask him?
The first question that I want to ask him is, I understand you're saying you didn't do anything, you don't know anything, but you were there on that island. What is your hypothesis of what happened to Nolan? I need you to tell me, like, you were there, so you can't say you have no idea. You have to tell me, what do you suspect happened to Nolan? My second question would be, by all accounts, all four of you were on the boat. Nolan told you, I want to go hang out with this girl. And all three of you let him do it. My second question would be, why didn't one of you stay with Nolan and the other two go on the boat? My third question would be, when Nolan was missing, before you knew that he had passed, when Nolan was just missing, why didn't you go back and scour the island looking for him? Those would be my three questions. And what did you do instead? Like, while he was missing, what were you doing while you weren't going back to that island looking everywhere for him?
And if you have any bonus questions, feel free to ask. Go ahead and fire off if you have any bonus questions.
I would want to know. I want them to tell me you've been accused of deleting things off your phone. I'd want them to tell me if that was true. Again, through my training, I'm trained to observe stress when you ask that, because that's an uncomfortable question, and it's an uncomfortable question that ex-officer Tatum didn't ask. In fact, when ex-officer Tatum is asking questions, he's purposely massaging the question to make it even more comfortable. And I would ask questions that made them uncomfortable, like, according to some reports, you deleted and removed things from the phone. Did you do that, and why? I'd ask them, you say that you and Nolan are really close friends. All my close friends, we have phone calls and text messages. Why are you not making text conversations public between you and Nolan? Why are you not making phone records public? Because you say you talked all the time. You should be able to show.
You said it was his best friend.
Right. You should be able to show all the conversations between you and your best friend. You don't have to tell us what you're talking about, but I should see the call logs, the evidence of best friend level of communication. So I would ask as many questions as I could to make him uncomfortable, with the purpose of just seeing how they handle being uncomfortable, which is, we now have two separate interviews. We have no idea how these kids handle being uncomfortable.
Yeah, those are some good questions. But, I think I'd go for the juggler.
Which is?
I'd go for the juggler. I'd straight up ask, did you kill Nolan Wells? Did you kill Nolan Wells, or did you witness Nolan Wells getting killed?
Well, you can't ask that.
Why not?
Because you already know. You can, but you have to build up to it.
Okay, here go my build up. You
already know what they're going to say.
Here's my build up. Are you capable of killing?
Yeah, you can ask that. I would have. So here's the kind of question that builds up to that. So you and Nolan have been best friends from kindergarten all the way through high school, or whatever, third grade, whatever they said. When you guys fought, how did those fights look? Another question I'd ask: have you ever referred to him as the N-word? Have you ever used?
Have you ever used the N-word?
Have you ever racially disparaged him? Because he was one black kid in the group, Did you ever use his blackness against him while angry? Even just out of frustration, did you ever do it? I would.
Did any
Did
of
it
your
ever
other
bother
friends?
you that white girls liked him? I would ask him those kind of questions.
Have y'all ever competed for a white girl?
And if so, how did you handle it?
Yeah.
I would straight up ask, have you ever had another loss in your life? And if I asked the people around you, would they tell me you showed more emotion then than you are now? Like, have you ever lost a pet? Have you ever lost a family member or close friend? Um, and if I interviewed everybody who knows you, would they tell me you showed more emotion then? I'd want to know, why didn't you go to the funeral? And how do you justify that in your head? And I'd want to know, what about this situation? Here's a really good question I'd ask. What about this situation is costing you sleep? Now, that would be a trap question, because if they told me nothing, I'm sleeping fine, that would be very odd. And if they told me, like, I'm really frustrated that all these people are accusing me of this, that would also be very odd. Because the thing that should be, like, I lost an uncle in 2017. It was very, very close to me. I still wake up sometimes, and my first thought is like, I want to reach out, I want to pick up my phone and text him, and I got to remember, like, oh man, he's not here.
Mm.
So like, this is a month and a half, 5 weeks old for these kids, and they should be like, it's hard for me to close my eyes because I hear his laughter, or we were supposed to get together and we were both excited that Madden 27 was coming out. We were going to play Madden, like, and I would ask them, what about this situation is keeping you up at night? Because I'd want them to tell me how they're perceiving this, and none of these questions are being asked.
What are your thoughts on Warren crying 1 month after Nolan's death, but not crying 2 weeks after his death? After 2 weeks after his death, in his first interview, he didn't cry. He barely showed any emotion at all. In fact, he didn't show any emotion. And then 2 weeks later, he interviews again, and this time he's crying. What do you make of that?
No, so it's not unusual that you cry later. So that happens. Like, I know people that, like, I didn't cry the first year after my so-and-so passed away. That's not super unusual. What I found most unusual about that first interview is that he was there in the first place. Like, I should, and it's accurate. All people grieve differently, and everybody's been in my comments like, oh, you can't say that, everybody grieves differently. That's true, but everybody grieves. And I should see evidence. He should have been very uncomfortable to be back at Horn Island with Officer Tatum 2 weeks after his friend passed. And he was super calm and very comfortable talking about the bilge on the boat. So it's not uncommon that he was crying a month later. It's just, what's uncommon to me is there's no evidence of stressor. And there's no evidence of remorse. There's no evidence of curiosity. There's no demonstration of regret. And even if you were completely innocent, you would have a hard time getting me not to say repeatedly, I wish we hadn't gone to that island. Now, apparently, they said it recently, but they should have regret that they even went.
They probably watch your podcast or something and heard you say that. They're like, hey man, let's throw that in there. Okay, everything they saying that we should have said, we ought to be saying, we gonna say that. Okay, everybody got it? Got it?
People,
okay,
it's funny, Willie, you say that. People have been DMing me, man, you need to stop saying these things because you're telling them what to say and what to not say. Number one, I can't help it. I'm very good at my job. And number two, even if they were watching and trying to turn it on, you can still see how authentic it is anyway, or inauthentic. So it actually tells on them more, as we can see by this new interview coming out, bringing about even more questions. Because if it's not real, it's not real. So like, there's nothing that they could do to just make it real. Like, if it's not real, it's not real. And the simple truth is, they're behaving oddly for people who have lost someone close to them. And I can say that clinically and psychologically. I can't tell you what that oddity means, but they're behaving oddly for what you would expect somebody to do in that situation.
Can somebody eventually become completely convinced of a version of events that isn't exactly the truth?
Oh, 100%. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Can somebody be like, can an 18-year-old do that?
Yeah. The human brain is very susceptible to being manipulated. And the younger the human brain is, the more susceptible it is to having reality morphed.
Yeah. All right, man. I appreciate you coming on the show, man. And look here, man. We got some more because they probably gonna do another interview tomorrow. So
And I'm gonna be on it. And look, I told you, Willie, I'm working on an interview that's gonna blow the doors off the internet. So I want to come talk to you after I do that.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. You're always welcome on the show. Ladies and gentlemen, Elliot Connie.
Thanks for having me, everybody.
There you go. My man Elliot. My Elliot be on it, man. I mean, on it. Let's go into the comments and see what y'all saying. Time. Was it Pamela Brown? What's up, Pamela Brown? Lena Landon. What's up? Energized Healing. Said P. Connie Hodge. What's up, Connie? Bug Horse. China Carter. What's up, China? Nora Brained. Trey Jones. Said ooh, I can't get that one. Israel. I'm gonna just say Israel. Yankee Israel. Avis Hopkins. Kanita, what's up? Ray, what's up, Zena Douglas? Sonia, Rose B, James Smith. What up, Dee Dee? Well, I just saw chat moving kind of fast, fam. So I'm missing some of the shout outs. Michael Tyson, Navy Girl. I see Breezy, Renee Kirkwood, Girl Solvent. Say Wise, what's up? Make sure y'all join me tomorrow, fam, at 11 a.m. I got what they call a doozy for you. I got a doozy for you at 11 a.m. Make sure you check out the show at 11 a.m. tomorrow. That's Sean DeRadia, who is representing Daniel Irvin, and he is also Carmelo Anthony's appeal attorney. He's going to give us an update on the Carmelo Anthony case and Daniel Irvin case and other cases that he's working on. And so many of our young people who are in the crosshairs of justice, right? So he's going to come on the show tomorrow, and I know he's going to bring the heat because he's really passionate about what he does. I like talking to people like that. I like working with people who are passionate about their work. People who do the minimum, they scare me. It's like having I remember I used to have a studio, and sometimes that might be, my studio was always really immaculate, but every now and then somebody might leave something, might leave a can or something in the studio, might be a little speck of paper or something like that on the floor or something. And I remember at one point I was testing this engineer, and for 3 days, this can set near a couch on the floor. He came in the studio for 3 days in a row and didn't remove the can. Now, the studio was always clean, so we didn't have to have like a regular person coming in, picking up trash. We didn't move. It wasn't like that. It was just, people kind of like cleaned up after themselves. But like I said, he was using the studio, not me. But I just made a note. I made note of it. I came back 3 days later, that can was still there. And I finally asked him about it. And you know what he said, fam? And I just thought you would get somebody to take care of it. Like it's a small thing, right? But again, it's somebody doing the minimum. People that do the minimum, I don't really like. I don't elevate them. You know what I mean? Like I wouldn't elevate them. We got the gift bringer, true crime. Somebody said earlier in the live, somebody said, don't call him officer, talking about Tatum, saying, don't call him officer. Why not? It ain't like the name comes with integrity. You know what I mean? Like, why not? If the name came with integrity, if the title came with integrity, yeah, I probably wouldn't call him officer. But it's not like you're praising him or something like that, or giving him some respectful title, officer. You say he was in the chat, huh? Mm-hmm. Trucking with, what was that? Trucking with somebody. What's up, DD Free? Trucking with Ja. There you go. Synth. Blue Magic. What's up, Sonia? Chuck Diesel. Anna Sanchez. What's up, E baby? What it do? Donnell Johnson. Catholic. T1 Dub. All right, fam, that's my time. I appreciate y'all joining live. Until next time, enjoy the rest of your morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you are in the world. Make sure you join the live tomorrow morning, 11 a.m. Central Standard Time. Guaranteed to be a doozy. No more talk.